Guten Nachmittag und willkommen, good afternoon and welcome to matchday 31 of the 2019-20 Bundesliga season. I'm Tom Parry-Jones and I'll be guiding you through this afternoon's 2:30 kickoffs. In Dusseldorf, it's bottom versus top as 16th placed Fortuna aim to escape the relegation zone. They're up against second placed Borrusia Dortmund, who still have eyes on the title. A couple of mid-table clashes involving the capital sides as Hertha host Eintracht Frankfurt, whilst Union travel to Köln with relegation still in their minds. At the bottom of the table, Paderborn are without a win in 11 matches. They play host to second bottom Werder Bremen. And in Wolfsburg, it's a real European six-pointer as Freiburg look to close the gap on the hosts for the final Europa League spot. And we can go live now to the Volkswagen Arena where Neil Parker has the team news. Neil.
Thanks very much, Tom. Wolfsburg made two changes from their win at Werder Bremen last week. Mehmedi and Santos Sarr is out. Stefan and Ginczek are in. Freiburg, they've just made the one change from last week's 1-0 win. Lienhart is out and he's been replaced by Schmidt. Real tough game today. Freiburg only 4 points behind Wolfsburg, so a win will get them right back in tension for that Europa League spot. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much, Neil. We'll go now to Dusseldorf, where Rhys Davis is at the Merkur Spiel Arena for Fortuna's game against Borussia Dortmund. Rhys Davis.
Hi, thanks, Tom. Yeah, so last week's draw means Fortuna Dusseldorf have had 3 stalemates since the restart of the league. Their other 2 games ending in a win and a loss. Uwe Rosler's side would be disappointed they couldn't capitalise on their one-man advantage for most of the game last week. I was here, I did watch the game. Most of Dusseldorf's dangerous attacks came through winger Eric Tommy. And he does start again today. There's one change in that team. Two changes, sorry. Bodzek is replacing the band Sobotka at the back. And Gieselman comes in for the shock of the day, which is Hennings has been demoted to the bench. Scored 2 goals last week. That means Suttner and Tommy both play advanced roles on the left. Dortmund make one change to the team that won 1-0 last week. Hummels returns, replacing Thomas Delaney, and Haaland is back on the bench. I expect plenty of goals in this one. I'd say most of them coming for the away team. 3-1 Dortmund would be my call. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So, plenty to play for in that game. Dortmund, of course, under pressure from RB Leipzig, who beat Hoffenheim 2-0 away last night. To the capital now, and we go to the Olympiastadion, where Hertha Berlin are taking on Eintracht Frankfurt, 9th versus 11th. Ben Feynman's there for us. Ben.
Cheers, Tom. As you said, a mid-table battle here between Hertha Berlin and Eintracht Frankfurt. Hertha have made 3 changes since their loss last weekend to Borussia Dortmund. Plattenhardt returns from a concussion, replacing Maximilian Mittelstadt, who has been ruled out with glandular fever. We've got Christoph Piontek, Il Pistolero, in for the injured Jairo Dilrosun, and Arne Myers in for the top scorer, Luda Bakir. For Frankfurt, they've made wholesale changes since midweek against Bayern Munich. They've made 7 changes. Hasebe comes in for Hinteregger, changing both fullbacks, Kostic returning, as well as Danny Da Costa. Ilsanker's in for Torre in centre midfield, and the front 3 have all changed, with Kamada, Sal, and Big Bas Dost returning into the starting lineup. A victory by 2 or more goals will see Frankfurt overtake Hertha Berlin for what should be quite an end-to-end game today.
Thank you very much, Ben. So the other Berlin side, Union, they're travelling to Köln today. The Geisböcker in 12th against 14th placed Union Berlin at the Rhein-Energiestadion. It's Simon Mullins. Simon.
Good afternoon, Tom. Well, it's a story of similar form for these two teams. 3 draws and 2 losses for Cologne, and 2 draws and 3 losses for Union Berlin's. Both sides without a win since the restart, so both will be keen to lift themselves above that relegation zone and out of that dogfight. A win today for the hosts, taking them to 38 points and mathematical safety, so a big incentive for them to have a nice, easy last 3 games. Goal difference of -10 is the best of the bottom 7, but only betted in the bottom half by Eintracht Frankfurt with -6. 32 points for the visitors currently, 1 ahead of Mainz and 4 ahead of Dusseldorf in that playoff position. So a win today takes them level on points with the hosts, but they are 8 goals adrift of their opponent, so it will need to be quite a large win to leapfrog them today. Berlin actually won the reverse fixture back in December with their top scorer, Anderson, netting 2 of his 12 goals in this campaign in a 2-0 win. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes today. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Simon. And the final fixture today is a real basement battle between Paderborn and Werder Bremen. At the Bentele Arena, it's Nikki Taliesin. Nikki.
Good afternoon. Well, Tom, it would be fair to say that today's game will be a low-scoring affair, with the two teams sitting at the bottom of the Bundesliga and both only average scoring 1 goal a game. Paderborn have only won 4 games this season, one of which was against Werder Bremen, however. In their last game versus Leipzig, Paderborn showed some real fight, scoring in the 19th minute thanks to a goal from veteran skipper Sturjek. But in truth, thanks should probably go to Leipzig's Upamecano for his petulant 42nd minute second yellow card. Sturjek is partnered by 20-year-old debutant Jan Ruka Rumpf at centre-back, and Klaus Jasula, owner of a Bundesliga record 16 yellow cards this season, which I'm sure he's going to look to gain on, remains in midfield as a result. Michel starts alongside Dennis Subeni at attack, with Streleli Mambamba still suspended. Werder Bremen paid the price of their poor finishing in their last game, losing 1-0 at home to Wolfsburg. Leonardo Bittencourt has scored 2 since the restart, which is the only goal scored. But he is only fit enough for the bench, with Rashica passing a late test to start. Yuya Osako starts in Bittencourt's absence. Ludwig Augustin gets the nod left back ahead of Marco Friedel. And being only 3 points behind Fortuna Dusseldorf, who currently sit on a relegation playoff position, they have to host high-scoring Dortmund today. Bremen will surely see this match as an opportunity that they can not afford to miss to try to get into that playoff place. I'm predicting about a 2-1 win.
Thank you very much, Nikki. So yes, a lot riding on that game between Paderborn and Werder Bremen. If Bremen win and Dusseldorf beat Borussia Dortmund, as unlikely as that is, Paderborn will be relegated today. At the opposite end of the table, of course, Bayern Munich take on Borussia Mönchengladbach this evening. It's first versus fourth. That game is live on BT Sport, and if results go Bayern's way, they can secure the title this evening. But of course, they would be also relying on a Fortuna Dusseldorf win. We have some of the games underway now, at Wolfsburg, Dusseldorf, Köln, and Paderborn. So just waiting for some updates. I can just give you a quick update on the result from last night. Hoffenheim, who occupied 7th place going into last night, hosting RB Leipzig in 3rd. The match finished 2-0 to Leipzig. Dani Olmo scoring both of the goals in quick succession in the 9th and 11th minutes to give Leipzig an invaluable 3 points as they look to secure 2nd place in the Bundesliga table. They're pretty much guaranteed to go into the Champions League next season. All 4 of the top 4 go straight into the group stage, but there's always bragging rights for the Red Bulls if they can manage to overhaul Borussia Dortmund in these last few games. So, with everything underway now, I think maybe we can go back to... Let's go back to Wolfsburg and get an early update from Neil Parker. Neil, what can you tell us about the game so far?
Thanks, Tom. We're in the early trappings at the minute. Freiburg just passing the ball about in their own half. Nothing too spectacular just yet. I think both clubs are just feeling each other out and just checking what they can do. Still 0-0.
Thank you very much, Neil. Sorry about that. A few technical difficulties at my end there. Let's see what's happening in... let's go to Dusseldorf and check in with Rhys Davis. Rhys, what's the latest there?
Yeah, pretty quick start out of the block for Dortmund, as you'd expect, with Sancho and Hazard up front. Dusseldorf are going to have a bit... they're going to have a lot on their hands. Yeah, there's not much to report on at the moment. I think Dusseldorf will have to sit back and absorb the pressure and get Dortmund on the counter-attack. It's about 90% possession for Dortmund at the moment. Dusseldorf have hardly had a touch. Back to you, Tom. 0-0.
Thank you very much, Reese. Let's see now what is the latest in Cologne. Let's go to Simon Mullins and check in with the Billy Goats there.
It's been a fairly frantic start for both teams, understandably, really, where the rewards for 3 points today are so high. A few lofted balls early on in towards John Cordoba, who leads the line again today after shrugging off a knee injury. And I neglected to mention that Sebastian Bornau, he has returned at the back for Cologne. So he starts again today. But a bit back and forth so far. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Simon. So, yeah, still 0-0 around the grounds so far. Nothing really to report. No yellow cards even in the first opening exchanges. So, as we said, relegation still on the cards. Well, very much on the cards for Paderborn and Bremen. Paderborn's relegation can be assured today, but it would require a win for Fortuna Dusseldorf at home to Borrusia Dortmund. Dortmund, who welcome back Erling Braut Haaland to their bench today after missing the last two. He, of course, hasn't scored in his last two appearances, so that's four Dortmund games without a goal for Erling Braut Haaland in all. Let's go now to Ben Feynman, who's at Hertha Berlin, watching the game against Eintracht Frankfurt. Ben, what's the latest?
Yeah, both teams feel themselves into it, Tom. Hertha Berlin have really had all the territory so far and the possession. I was here watching, well, I wasn't here, but I watched Frankfurt last week and they were awful against Mainz, really toothless. So I'll be hoping to make an improvement today. And that's why they made 7 changes since the game in Bayern. They really see this one where they need to try and pick up some points in. We'll see how many of those changes take an effect, especially with a lot of the tired legs after the break. One man who certainly isn't tired is Vladimir Darida, the Czech Republic international, who has broken the record for distance covered in back-to-back weeks now. We'll see if he can make it 3 in a row, but by means that would be an excellent feat. Oh, we've had just a good header, good first chance for Eintracht Frankfurt. It looked like Danny Da Costa, the right wing back, popped up in a attacking position on the 6-yard box and he's headed it into the keeper's hands. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Ben. So lots happening immediately just now in the capital. Not much happening for Union against Köln at the moment. Let's check back in at the bottom of the table where Nicky Taliesin is at Paderborn, their game against Werder Bremen. Nicky.
Well, quite frankly, Tom, so far the most interesting thing was probably the referee getting accidentally watered by a sprinkler before the game started. They both look excitable, but neither of them have any real final touch, final shot, final pass so far. So let's see what happens.
Sounds like both sides will be waiting for the final whistle there. Paderborn unbeaten in their last 2 against Bremen, having won earlier this season and also drawing their previous meeting in April 2015. Davy Selke, the Werder Bremen player, scored that day, and also in the 4-0 win for Bremen in the two sides' first ever meeting back in November 2014. But of course, he's only scored once since returning to Bremen on loan from Hertha Berlin, and that was in the Cup, so still yet to get off the mark in his second spell in Bremen. Also spent a bit of time in with Leipzig, I believe. Let's see. Any updates in Dusseldorf? Let's go back to Rhys Davis, please.
Yeah, absolutely no updates, Tom, I'm afraid. It's a bit back and forth since you came to me last. Dusseldorf have had a bit of possession. Nothing doing other than a cross, which was then given offside. Would have been dangerous had he managed to stray onside. But Sancho looking a bit dangerous on the left, linking up with Brandt a few times, but nothing in the final third. So, we'll stick with it and see you in a sec. Still 0-0.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So, yes, of course, for Dortmund, Erling Braut Haaland returning to the match day squad. No room, of course, for Marco Reus, who has also returned to training in the last few days. He hasn't played since February, though, so they'll be looking to ease him back into action. He, though, scored twice in the reverse fixture between Dortmund and Dusseldorf at the Westfalenstadion earlier this season. Let's quickly check in with Neil Parker, who I believe has an update for us in Wolfsburg. Neil, what's going on there?
Thanks, Tom. It's been all Freiburg. Wolfsburg can barely touch the ball. We've had a couple of corners for Freiburg, potential handball in the area by the Wolfsburg defender. The ball came down as the Wolfsburg defender had his hand on the Freiburg striker. It wasn't given. To be honest, there wasn't a huge amount of appeals for it either. Freiburg have just had a free kick, which they put in the area, which was then cleared out by Wolfsburg. As I say, Wolfsburg really struggling to get their foot on the ball. They do have quite a natty little kit, though, where they're all black, but with a green cross across their front, which is quite snazzy. But apart from that, still 0-0. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much, Neil. So not much to report so far. Still 0-0 around the grounds with just under 10 minutes gone. Slightly delayed there in Hertha Berlin's game against Eintracht Frankfurt, about a minute behind everyone else. But let's check in with Ben Feynman, who's there for us, and see what the latest is in the capital. Ben.
Yeah, we've seen an early yellow card for a nasty challenge on Bastos, and it was the former Man City and Celtic centre-back, Cedric Boyata, who's been the first recipient of the referee's cards. Hertha Berlin still knocking it around quite nicely in the attacking area. The only shot we have had is the Danny Da Costa header, however. Still not too much more to report at this stage.
Thank you very much, Ben. So, yeah, Hertha unbeaten in their last 4 meetings with Eintracht Frankfurt. Frankfurt's last win came in December 2017, so 2.5 years ago, the last time they managed to get one over the capital side. Although the last 2 matches between them have been drawn, so a slight change in fortunes for Hertha. Hertha, yeah, they've in a bit of a good run of form since Bruno Labbadia took over in charge there in the lockdown period. They've claimed 10 of the 15 points that have been available to them since he took charge. Let's go now to Simon Mullins, who's watching Köln's game against Union Berlin. Simon.
There was a chance for Ingvardsson, who picked up on I can't pronounce his name there. Ehizebue, who slid in and knocked the ball into his own box. Ingvardsson picked up on it and hit a left-footed shot across the face of goal, but didn't really trouble the goalkeeper. Still 0-0 here, and still quite back and forth between the teams.
Thank you very much, Simon. So, again, not much to report around the grounds so far. Gosh, it's not as exciting as it was last week. Just trying to keep you up to date with some facts and figures from this one. Pardon me while I just check my notes. Oh, well, Union Berlin, they, of course, won their last meeting against Köln. It was a 2-0 win, both goals for Sebastian Andersson. That match, of course, was the last time that Köln failed to score in a match, a run of 16 matches that continues to this day. But they are without a win in their last 6. The Geisböcker, the Billy Goats, which has left them in 12th place and not looking like challenging for European places anytime soon. Let's go now to Neil Parker, who's at Wolfsburg. Neil, anything interesting happening there? Any further attacks for Freiburg, perhaps?
No, the game is settled in now. Wolfsburg are having a little bit more of the ball, but it's all the play is just very, very vanilla. There's nothing much happening, to be honest with you. It's just passing the ball back and forth, very, very slow pace. No attacking threat really from either side. Freiburg on the attack, but Freiburg on the attack. Cross coming in. No, nothing. Wolfsburg snuffed that out. Still 0-0.
Thanks very much, Neil. So coming up to 15 minutes played and still no goals in these 5 games we've got for you. So as we said, Hoffenheim losing to RB Leipzig last night. Leipzig consolidating their place at the top of the table. So we currently have Wolfsburg against Freiburg. That's still 0-0. Dusseldorf against Dortmund, still 0-0. 15 minutes gone there. Same across the board. Hertha against Frankfurt, Köln v Berlin, and Paderborn v Bremen. At 5:30 this afternoon, we've got Bayern Munich taking on Borussia Mönchengladbach in the late kickoff. And then tomorrow it's Mainz against Augsburg and Schalke versus Bayer Leverkusen. Leverkusen, who will be hoping for a return of their talismanic player, Kai Havertz, who's the Bundesliga's top scorer since the return of football in the middle of May. Let's go now to... well, that's made my decision for me. Let's go back to Wolfsburg now and check in with Neil, who's got a goal for us. Who's it gone to, Neil?
Despite the early pressure from Freiburg, it's Wolfsburg who have gone 1-0 up. Daniel Ginczek scored a right-footed shot from the centre of the box. Ball was just crossed over, and Ginczek was pretty much free, and he just right-footed it to the goalkeeper's left in the bottom corner. Sort of against the run of play, actually, but Wolfsburg are 1-0 up.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Neil. So that's a really important goal for Wolfsburg. That would really help them out in the race for the final Europa League place. That 6th position in the Bundesliga table would give them passage to the second qualifying round of next season's UEFA Europa League, whenever that may start. We're still waiting to find out when the matches from this season will be completed, but the priority is to get the domestic leagues finished. So yes, a real 6-pointer between Freiburg and Wolfsburg. 7 point. If things were to finish now as they stand, the gap would be 7 points from Wolfsburg down to Freiburg. Freiburg currently unable to take advantage of that defeat for Hoffenheim at the hands of RB Leipzig last night. Not much to say about Freiburg other than that they're still pushing for that European place. But it would be a really remarkable story for them. They are a bit of a surprise package in Bundesliga this season. No one really expected much of them, but they've managed to force their way into European contention, into the top half, although they do have a goal difference of -3. Then again, that is the best of the negative goal differences in Bundesliga so far this season. Only 6 teams have a positive one, and of course Bayern well ahead in the goal difference terms. 90 goals scored to 30 conceded. It's set them well on their way to winning that 8th Bundesliga title in a row. That run started all the way back in 2013 under Jupp Heynckes. Let's go back to Dortmund, who are the closest challengers to Bayern Munich's title run. And it's Rhys Davis who's in Dusseldorf for us. Rhys.
Yeah, we just had a great counter-attack from Dortmund. It left Sancho, it was 1-on-1 versus the keeper. Keeper's come out. It's a great save. Should do better, penalty. Sancho, probably. But it was a great chance from a corner, short corner by Dusseldorf, well executed, cleared away by the defence. And should have done better. 3-on-2. It's still 0-0.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So going back to that Wout Weghorst goal for Wolfsburg. That is his I believe his second in 2 games for Wout Weghorst. But we've got a penalty at the game between Paderborn and Werder Bremen, where we go to Nicky Taliesin. Nicky, what's the latest? Who's it for?
It's a penalty for Bremen. Collins was coming in for a tackle and he decided to start playing a bit of basketball with the ball, and so a penalty has been given. So it's a handball decision. There seems to be a lot of whistling going on. It's quite surprising with no crowd, so I don't know where that's coming from. But so we're still waiting for the penalty to be taken. I think they're just double checking it, but I can't. It's got to be given. It was so blatant a handball. They're just checking. Nope, penalty's definitely given. So that was Collins' handball, and just seeing who's taking it. Okay, just wait to see who's coming up to take it. Oh, it's Rashica, returning Rashica for the penalty. Oh, it's missed! It's saved! Zingerman saved the penalty. Still not gone out yet. It's only a matter. Oh, dear me. Yeah, Zingerman saved the penalty. It was a great save, bottom right-hand corner. Rashica hit it pretty well, but it's a classic case of if you don't hit it low, it's going to be saved. So, yeah, it's a saved penalty.
So plenty of drama in the basement battle. I've got to stop using that cliche, of course. It is a bottom of the table clash between Paderborn and Werder Bremen. Had Rashica scored that penalty, he could have really helped Werder Bremen's cause in going for staying in Bundesliga next season. Of course,
goal!
All right, let's go back to Nicky Taliesin, who's still watching that game in Paderborn. Nicky.
Well, I wasn't expecting a very exciting game, but it is a battle, and that's a goal for Bremen, for Bremen. Klaassen, the player that didn't do too well at Everton in his days, he's coming with a header. It's a fine header, great cross. I think everyone's still in a bit of shock from the missed penalty, to be honest with you. They're still showing the missed penalty. In fact, there's a replay. It didn't even make it out to their own half before the ball came back in. Across from the right. Brilliant header by Klaassen. Absolutely amazing. Perfect cross. I'm not quite sure who crossed it in, sorry. I believe it could have been Selassie, maybe. That was great. Yeah, great goal, top corner. Keeper had no chance for this one. 1-0 Bremen.
So really important goal for them there. As I was saying, the result could really solidify their credentials for staying in Bundesliga next season. As things stand, with Dusseldorf being held by, holding Borussia Dortmund, they're a point ahead of Werder Bremen. But if Bremen can hold on to this lead and Dortmund can put a few past Dusseldorf, that'll push Bremen back up into the relegation playoff place, which would give them a great chance of staying up for the 2020-21 season. Let's have a look now in fact, let's check in Dusseldorf and see what the situation is there with Rhys Davis. Rhys.
Hi, Tom. Yeah, we've got an injury to Tommy, who's down on the floor. It wasn't the greatest challenge. It won't be punished with any caution, but he's still down on the floor. I was a bit unfair to Sancho earlier. I did say he missed the chance. It was actually Achraf Hakimi. The ball was from Sancho. I think I better change my internet connection on the stream. But I picked that up on the replay now. It was a great ball from Sancho, and it was Hakimi who was one-on-one, and he did fluff that chance. It is Dortmund looking the likely to score of the two teams, but Tommy's just got up, and the free kick's about to be taken. He seems okay.
Oh!
0-0. Over to you, Tom, where there's been a goal.
Thank you very much, Rhys. And I believe the goal is in Wolfsburg. Let's go back to Neil Parker and check in. Who's the goal gone to, Neil?
Yeah, it's another goal to Wolfsburg. It's 2-0 Wolfsburg. Ginczek has scored. And he scored, and he hit a header and it bounced off the bar. Brilliant save by the keeper onto the bar, onto the crossbar. And then it bounced out, and it was the easiest to finish. He bundled the ball into the goal, but he's actually hurt himself. He's split his lip open and he's pouring with blood as well. It's a That's all happening here. Luckily, they've got dark shirts on, so he should be all right to carry on without having to change his shirt. Just here we go again. A cross comes in from the right. And, it wasn't Ginczek. Ginczek caught it the second time after it went on the bar. Mbabu puts the ball in, and just trying to see who. It's Weghorst headed the ball onto the bar. Whilst he headed it, he got booted in the face by the Freiburg defender. The open goal was for Ginczek, and he just smashed it in. It's 2-0 Wolfsburg, and very much against the run of play.
So it was Daniel Ginczek with the goal. I believe he's been credited with it. That's his first goal since the opening day of the return of Bundesliga. He scored in the 90th minute against Augsburg to give Wolfsburg the lead there, and he's scored against Freiburg here today. So he really enjoys scoring against the Bergs, it would seem.
We're actually VAR-ing, sorry. There's a VAR for something. I don't know what. The goal is still on the score. The score. Oh, it's checking for an offside. It's checking whether Ginczek was offside at the goal. It's touch and go. I'm not sure. Is he? So when Weghorst heads the ball, I think Ginczek's offside. I think this is going to get scrubbed off. They're replaying it. The ref has actually gone over to the monitor on the side of the screen. He's having a watch. They're showing a lot of replays. I'm not sure how the replays are going to help. They're still watching the replay. This is a very long VAR check. And they're just watching the same thing over and over again. Are they checking for an offside? Oh, ref's coming over. And he's not. He is taking his time, which, Oh, I think the goal's been given. No, the goal's been taken off. The goal has been taken off. So actually, it's only 1-0 to Wolfsburg now. You got to feel for Weghorst. He's still being seen to, just with blood everywhere. The goal has been taken off for offside, so it has gone back down to Wolfsburg 1, Freiburg 0.
Wolfsburg 1. Well. So only the 1-goal lead for Wolfsburg now, but still with a lead, they'll be happy to hold on to that, although they could do with the extra cushion.
Sorry, Tom. I think you need to come back to me because I'm pretty sure it's a penalty.
It is. I will come back to Neil Parker, who's watching Wolfsburg v Freiburg.
So in the craziness of all this, it's been given as a penalty to Wolfsburg because Weghorst got booted in the face. So what's happened is the goal has been disallowed, but they've gone back for the foul on Weghorst. So Weghorst has now got a penalty. He's scored 6 penalties this year, so you've got to think he's going to be good. But we've got our man Schwolo in the Freiburg goal. Let's hope he gobbles it up. We don't know what's going to happen. Weghorst versus Schwolo. Schwolo with a massive bandage on his head. He looks like he's been in the wars. Weghorst stepped up. Ref blows his whistle. Weghorst runs up. He scored! Sent the keeper the wrong way. So Weghorst gets his second. It's 2-0. And after all that, I mean, that was quite interesting. 26 minutes in, Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 0.
Yes, it is finally 2-0 in that game. Weghorst netting for a second time in a match for the first time since he scored a hat-trick against Hoffenheim back on the 15th of February. Implications there for that match. Of course, Wolfsburg really solidifying their claim to the final Europa League place. I think we need to go now to back to the Olympiastadion in Berlin, where Ben Feynman will have the latest for us. Ben.
It's 1-0 to Hertha Berlin. It's no more than they deserve. The ball's bundled around in the air and it's fallen to Christoph Piontek. He's wriggled past 3 people, just bundling his way through the bodies and slotted it home. It's 1-0 to Hertha Berlin. And they don't look like looking back at the moment. And they're currently pushing for a second.
Thank you very much, Ben. Sounds like someone's blowing raspberries in your ear at this end. I'm not sure if you want to check the connection on your microphone. So 1-0 to Hertha. Not many implications for that game. They're still 7 points off Wolfsburg in the Europa League place, down in 9th. So with 7 points the gap and only 3 games left after today, that's regardless of Hertha's results, they can probably kiss goodbye to European football for 2020-21. Let's check in with Simon Mullins. No, let's not check in with Simon Mullins. Let's go back to Wolfsburg and check in with Neil Parker. What's the score, Neil?
Oh, Wolfsburg are running riot. It's 3-0. Ginczek finally got his goal. Wolfsburg had a corner on the left. It was whipped in. Ginczek just rose above everyone and smashed it in with his head. He was denied 6 minutes ago. There's no denying him of this one. Wolfsburg 3, Freiburg 0.
Thank you very much, Neil. I'm still getting a audio crackle from my reporters on the games. I wonder if that's a technical issue at my end or at the producer's end, but we'll try and get that sorted out for you. I don't even know if you can hear it. It might just be me. But we will now go back to Cologne and check in with Simon Mullins, who's at the Rhein-Energiestadion watching their game against Union Berlin. Simon.
Yeah, we've had a few efforts on goal. Anderson hitting a wayward shot after a well-worked move by Berlin. They seem to be trying to pick up on Cologne's scraps. Cologne very much playing as the home team now, settled on the ball and looking to exert their will on this game. They did have the best chance. Free kick from the left-hand side, whipped across. It looked like it avoided everyone. There's 4 Berlin players at the back post, but somehow Chichos, the centre-back, has wriggled his way between them and has got a great effort off. And the goalkeeper, Gikiewicz, has done really well to save it point blank. So still 0-0 here, but there are chances coming for both teams.
Goals being chalked off, Tom.
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you, Neil, for that update. Tell us what's happened in Wolfsburg.
Ginczek, he can't score for love nor money. The goal has been chalked off for handball. Again, they do like to take their time in the Bundesliga with these VAR decisions because, I mean, that was a good 2 minutes after the goal went in. The check came. The ref didn't take too long, actually, once he saw the monitor. But, yeah, Ginczek, he's not having any luck today. Once again, goal chalked off, so it's only 2-0 to Wolfsburg. I'm not sure I can keep track of all these VAR checks. I'm not going to lie, it's tricky. Thanks, Tom.
So, it could have been something like 4-0, but it's actually still only 2. Wolfsburg, Daniel Ginczek, still waiting for that first goal since the 16th of May.
Penalty here.
That 90th minute winner against Augsburg. Let's go back to Cologne and check in with Simon, where there's a penalty. Simon.
Well, it looks like it's that man Chichos again. He's been given handball there. The ball worked through by Union Berlin, and it makes its way down to Gentner on the right-hand side, who's just he's chipped the ball up. And in fairness, it's quite a harsh decision. I'm not sure if that would have been given in previous years. The hand is really close into his body there. It's not a sort of a natural angle then, but the referee has given it right in front of the linesman on that side, and we just wait to see who will take this. It'll probably be the returning it'll probably be Anderson, I'm afraid, mixing up there. So just waiting here. I think the Cologne players are remonstrating with the referee, who doesn't seem to be having any of it. He's quite blank-faced as they're arguing away. Yeah, come back to me on this one, Tom.
Certainly will. Thank you very much, Simon.
We have a record.
We have a record in Paderborn with Nicky Taliesin. Nicky, who's it gone to?
Well, Zula, of course, he couldn't resist. He's been trying most of the game, in fairness. He's got his yellow card. He's up to 17, and he's officially got the record for the Bundesliga for a season. He looked quite pleased with himself, if I'm honest. He just barged into the back. I couldn't see the player's name, but Zula really could, because he barged straight into the back of him and took him out, and he's on 17 yellow cards.
Yeah, real central midfield enforcer, I think you could call Klaus Jasula for Paderborn. So 17 yellow cards, breaks the record held by Thomas Heito from the 98-99 season when he was playing for Schalke Not sure it's a record anyone really wants, but, talk to Klaus Gaschula about that after the game, I suppose. If he gets another one in each of the last 3 games, that would put him on to 20. Not sure if that would mean he gets suspended for the opening game of next season, but it's likely that would be in, almost certain that will be in the Zweite Bundesliga regardless. Let's go to Dusseldorf now, where it's bottom v top, and check in with Rhys Davis. Rhys, what's the latest?
Yeah, it's still back and forth, really. It's Dortmund with most of the possession. We had a chance for it was Hazard when Sancho was chasing a lost cause, one of those that your manager when you're a kid tells you never give up on. He ran to the touchline, got there, back-heeled it into Hazard's path, but he was unable to convert the chance. It's pretty much as we were, looking like Dortmund on the attack most of the time. It's about 73% possession to them. Other than that, it's pretty standard 0-0.
Thank you, Rhys. Let's see if we can go back to Simon Mullins.
Goal!
No, we won't go to Simon. That's the second time I've said that today, but we're going to go back to Nicky Taliesin, who's watching Paderborn v Bremen. Who scored, Nicky?
That would be a goal for Bremen, who are 2-0 up now. That's Osako with a... it was a simple save off keeper and just a simple tap in. Let's just check in who took the shot before. It was just such a simple tap in. Oof, that's quite tight mind offside. I won't be surprised if we have a Neil moment in a second where they might go to VAR. It's looking like it's going to be... Doesn't look like it's going to VAR. 2-0. Simple tap in, Osako. 2-0 Bremen.
Thank you very much, Nicky. So Osako with his first goal since the 23rd of November, where he scored a consolation against Schalke in a 2-1 defeat for them. So quite a few games without a goal for him. But he'll be happy to get on the score sheet today if it keeps Werder Bremen in with a shout of staying up in the Bundesliga. Still no goals between Dusseldorf and Dortmund, but of course, if Dortmund do manage to take the lead, that would push Dusseldorf down into the second bottom position, depending on goal difference, of course, and Bremen would have the playoff berth. Let's go to Ben Feynman, who's watching Hertha against Eintracht Frankfurt, and get the latest from him. Ben.
Yeah, we've had an early forced change here for Hertha Berlin. The veteran Per Skjelbred has gone off and been replaced by the 18-year-old Lazar Samardžić. He's been at the club since he was 7 years old. He's currently 18, and he's been vaulted through the youth ranks. He's actually scored 14 goals for the under-19 team this season in 8 games. So while Skjelbred does seem to be a bit more of a holding midfielder, we'll see what attacking presence Samardžić can provide to the home side.
Thank you very much, Ben. So let's now go back to Simon Mullins, who has an update on that penalty shout from Cologne against Union Berlin. Simon.
Yeah, we've had what we're apparently calling a Neil moment here in Cologne. The VAR guys apparently not happy with picking on Daniel Ginczek all day. They have turned around and wiped out that penalty. As I said earlier, the angle of the arm didn't really look unnatural. It was quite close to him, and the ball was knocked out for a corner. But the referee decided against that as well and gave a drop ball. So we just missed a good chance there for Cologne, actually, going up the other end. And if anyone's likely to break the deadlock for them today, it looks like their central attacking midfielder, who charged at the defence, shifted onto his left foot and unleashed a rather disappointing left-footed effort at goal. But he's been looking lively so far.
Thank you very much, Simon. Let's now check back in with, see if there's been any more Neil moments in Wolfsburg and get an update from Neil Parker. Neil.
Yeah, no more Neil moments. Oh, but the Freiburg guy just got absolutely battered by Weghorst. Weghorst has just absolutely taken out Linehardt. The ref's having a bit of a shout at him. Couple of attempts. Freiburg have started to get back into it now. They had a bit of attacking. Linehardt himself had a volley from outside the area, which I think hit the roof of the stadium. It was that high. And also one of the Wolfsburg trainers, I think, got a yellow card from the stands, which was a bit weird because he definitely wasn't a player, so he's not a sub. So the ref has yellow carded one of the trainers or managers or physios or whoever in the stand, which is a bit strange as well. But yeah, Freiburg's starting to come back into it, but Wolfsburg still 2-0. Mr. VAR hasn't had a huge amount to do in the past 5 minutes. Lucky him.
Thank you very much, Neil. Let's hope it's a little less eventful for you as we go into the second half. We've got just over 5 minutes remaining in this opening period. So Wolfsburg leading 2-0 at home to Freiburg, hoping to consolidate their place in the UEFA Europa League second qualifying round, which goodness knows when that would ever be played. Let's go now to Paderborn, where Nikki Taliesin's got an update for us. Nikki, what's the latest?
Bremen are really going for this. I was saying earlier on it might be 2-1. That's gone down now. That's 3-0 so far. Klaassen has just scored again. It was a cross in from a free kick and a header back across goal, and Klaassen with a class. I keep saying class, with a great volley down into the ground. Keeper had no chance. That was another great goal. Never saw any of this in the Premier League from him. But it's 3-0 Bremen.
Go!
Let's. Thank you very much, Nikki. Yeah, very important result for Werder Bremen if they can count on Borussia Dortmund to move them out of that guaranteed relegation position. As you heard, Simon Mullins has got an update for us in Cologne. Who's the goal gone to, Simon?
It's gone to the visitors, largely against the run of play, really. Crossing from a corner from Trimmel, the captain, and running onto it superbly is Ramos, the centre-back. He's put a thumping header past Timo Horn, and it's 1-0 to the visitors.
Thank you, Simon. So yet another assist for Christopher Trimmel this season, not from a set piece. Oh, no, it was from a set piece. I apologise. That is his 8th assist from a set piece so far this season. He was already the most in Europe. That puts him 2 ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold in the European stakes for set-piece assists. So that gives Union Berlin the lead there. That puts them level on points with Köln as things stand, and with Eintracht Frankfurt, of course, but goal difference, the deciding factor between those three sides. 110, drawn 5, lost 16 is the record for each of them. It's really just Frankfurt's goal scoring and not much else that's keeping them near the top of the bottom half of the table. So 5 minutes to go in the half. So we have, as I said earlier, Wolfsburg leading Freiburg 2-0. Wolfsburg looking for that Europa League spot. Dusseldorf holding Borussia Dortmund at home. You might have expected Dortmund to score there. Maybe they'll look to Erling Haaland to get them off the mark in the second half if he's up to the fitness challenge. Hertha Berlin leading Eintracht Frankfurt 1-0 at home. Christoph Piontek with the goal for them. He's in a bit of form, Christoph Piontek, since his move from AC Milan back in January. He's now got 3 in his last 4 games for the capital side, and hoping that he can carry that form into next season. European football is pretty much beyond their grasp now, but hopefully for his sake, they'll be gunning for it next season. Cologne, as we just heard, taking that, going 1-0 down to Union Berlin. Trimmel with the corner, finding Marvin Friedrich with the header. And then at the bottom of the table, Werder Bremen leading 3-0 at Paderborn, which if results go their way, or if the result goes their way between Dusseldorf and Dortmund, would see Bremen move up into the... Goodness me. Who was that? Looks like it was Neil. Let's go back to Neil Parker and see if VAR wants to rule this one out.
It's a goal to Freiburg. It's 2-1 Freiburg. Lucas Höhler has just headed from inside the 6-yard box. It was a cross that came over from the right. Diving header. Good old-fashioned diving header, which we love. Yeah, straight past the keeper. Keeper didn't really have a chance, as I say. He was only 6 yards out, and he just bulleted the header through. Yeah, so Freiburg are now only 1 goal behind. It's Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 1.
Well, important for Freiburg to get back into this game at this time with just a couple of minutes to go until half-time. They will take plenty of heart from that, because they could do with overhauling this result. If they manage to do so, that would see them drag Wolfsburg into touching distance, and also give Hoffenheim a bit of a chance to move into that Europa League position. But of course, Wolfsburg still leading. It's 2-1. But as we say, 2-0 is often the most dangerous scoreline. Opens you up to all sorts of mischief. Let's see what the latest is in Dusseldorf now. Let's go back to Rhys Davis. What's the latest, Rhys?
Yeah, just as before, really. It's still 0-0 here. Dusseldorf getting a bit tired. They're running around the pitch a lot, chasing the ball in the middle, passing between a lot of Brandt, Hazard, Axel Witsel as well. Passing is pretty good and solid in the middle. They're not seeming to go much further than the box. No extra chances. We did have one from Brandt. It was a great challenge actually by Hoffmann in the defence, but Dusseldorf cutting out what looked to be a great opportunity on goal. Looks like we're heading into half-time 0-0. It's probably the fair result. Dortmund haven't done enough really to warrant a lead, and that is the half-time whistle just there. That is 0-0 half-time.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So yes, Dortmund, the second top scorers in Bundesliga so far this season, failing to get off the mark in this first half. But there's a penalty in Berlin, where Ben Feynman's watching Hertha taking on Eintracht Frankfurt. Who's it gone to, Ben?
It's gone to Frankfurt, and Dejan Borrusia could be in massive trouble here. He's already been carded. Big bad Bastos was through on goal, and Dejan Borrusia has just clipped his heels when straight on the keeper, and the ref has shown him a second yellow card. It looks kind of accidental, but there's a clash of legs, and Bastos was through if there was no connection made. They will check to see if it's outside the area, and there's not a lot of contact there, actually. I do wonder if Bastos has just tripped over his own feet here, to be honest. But the ref they're going to check it, because it could also be outside the area. But Bastos will prepare to take it. The ref's going over to check his own monitor. And we might go a while there, because there's a lot of stuff to clear up. So if you want to come back to me, Tom, that's more than happy.
Certainly will. Thank you very much, Ben. So we'll check back in with him once we know what the result of that penalty check is. So we have half-time in Dusseldorf v Dortmund. We've already spoken to Rhys. I believe it's half-time in Paderborn, where Nikki Taliesin is watching their game against Werder Bremen. Nikki, what's the half-time report, please?
It's a mixed bag, really. You would think 3-0 would be an exciting game, but it's just more about exciting moments. Bremen want it more at the end of the day. Paderborn look a little bit defeated. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more goals in the second half for Bremen, who just wanted that bit more. Paderborn look more like they want to fight than they want to play. But 3-0 at half-time, I think, is a more than fair scoreline.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Let's see what else we've got around the grounds. Let's go to Simon Mullins, who's watching in Cologne. Their just nearing the end of their first half against Union Berlin. Simon.
There's a corner just coming across here for Cologne, and that's cleared away. A few moments ago, we had another Christopher Trimmel delivery into the box, another great delivery from him. You can see why he's leading that European assist category. And he found the head of Anderson, their top scorer, who put his effort straight into the hands of Timo Horn. At the moment, it's fairly back and forth. There's a lot of bite in the midfield. Drexler, a lot of people were thinking he was going to start on the bench today, but he started for Cologne, and you can see what a big presence he can be for them and what a big miss he would have been last week while he was suspended. So, still 1-0 to Union Berlin, and this would really represent a huge stride forward in their bid for survival. A club that has had fans who have literally bled for them.
Thank you very much, Simon. Yeah, really interesting story. The cult side, really. They're not a cult. They have a cult following. The second team, really, in Berlin, but they've picked up a lot of fans over the last couple of seasons, making their way into Bundesliga. Let's check in now with Ben Feynman with the latest on that penalty review. Ben.
So the headline is there's no penalty. The contact was made outside the box. It was very minimal contact as the referees deemed. It looked like he was going to rescind the red card that he awarded Boyata, but actually what he did is he rescinded the second yellow and awarded him a straight red card instead. So a bit of double punishment there. Kostic had the resulting free kick nailed into the wall and then a volley which was sent over the bar. But this should really get Frankfurt going, and I'm excited for the second half. So
a straight red for Dedrick Boyata, the first time he's been sent off in competitive football since getting a 90th minute red card for Celtic in the Scottish League Cup against St Johnstone back in September 2018. I'm sure you all remember that game. Let's see if any other games have gone to half time. So we've checked in with Paderborn. Let's go back to Cologne and check in with Simon Mullins, who has a half-time report for us.
Yeah, half-time here. Still 1-0 to Union Berlin, and both teams have just gone in now. As I said before, a fairly even game. Not a lot between the sides. A lot of bite in midfield. But if any of you are interested, it is a very, very fascinating story. The story of Union Berlin. A club that have been forged during the Cold War, and lots of intrigue, and it's a very, very interesting story of how they developed in the east of Germany. But they have had fans there who have, as I said before, bled for the team when they were facing financial ruin, and the Bundesliga were saying that we need 1.5 million to keep you in the league. Fans took it upon themselves to donate blood, and in Germany you get paid for giving blood. So they took all the proceeds and gave it to the club to keep them afloat. Not once in 2004, but twice, also in 2008 too. So fascinating story of love there from the terraces. Hopefully those fans will be back in through the gates very soon to watch their team. Cologne will be desperate to get back into it, and you can see that in their play. They've really thrown themselves about, and there's been some rough challenges going in. Only the one booking for their captain, Hector, so far. I think the ref is doing a good job of letting this game flow, but we'll see what the second half brings.
Thank you very much, Simon. Yes, great story, Union Berlin. Let's get a half-time report now from Wolfsburg. We'll go back to Neil Parker, who's had plenty of action in his first half. How's it been, Neil?
It's been a great half of football, pretty reasonably even. I mean, Freiburg have had a lot of possession. They've had over 60% possession, but it is Wolfsburg who took a 2-0 lead by a double from Weghorst. But also, it could have been way more. It could have been 4. They've had 2 goals disallowed from VAR, one for offside and one for handball. Freiburg, in the last couple of minutes of the first half, managed to score one back to make it 2-1. That was scored by Hurler. It's been a really, really interesting game. And hopefully we'll have as much action to come in the second half. It's Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 1.
Thank you very much, Neil. So yes, just the one game lacking goals at the moment, and it's probably the one we least expected, with Dortmund, the second best attacking side in the league this season, being held away to Dusseldorf. Dortmund still trying to keep up the pressure on Bayern Munich, who play this evening at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach, who occupy fourth place in the league right now. The other scores, of course, we have, as Neil just mentioned, Wolfsburg 2-1 against Freiburg, 0-0 Dusseldorf v Dortmund, Hertha Berlin lead 1-0 at home to Eintracht Frankfurt, Cologne at home to Union Berlin, they trail 1-0, and Werder Bremen with the most goals in today's action so far, leading 3-0 at bottom side Paderborn. Werder Bremen, of course, with the chance to escape the relegation zone if results go their way today. Well, seeing as all the games are at half-time, let's take a quick advert break and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. See you then.
He waits. That's what he does. And I'll tell you what. Tick followed tock, followed tick, followed tock, followed tick. Ahab says I don't care who you are, here's to your dream. The old sailors return to the bar. Here's to you, Ahab! And the fat drummer hit the beat with all his heart. Here's to waiting.
They say good things come to those who wait. I say good things come to those who cash out. With cash out, you're in control. So relax. And just forget about the final whistle. Because sometimes you just gotta take the money and run. Bet365, the world's favourite online sports betting company.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time. We are
At the river mouth, the bears catch only the tastiest, most tender salmon, which is exactly what we at John West want. John West endured the worst to bring you the best.
Welcome back to Matchday 31 in Bundesliga 2019-20. The sixth game back since football returned after the coronavirus lockdown in Germany. Lots of action around the five games we've got for you this afternoon. 3 goals between Wolfsburg and Freiburg, although it could have been more had VAR not intervened. Wolfsburg leading there 2-1 to potentially solidify their claim to a Europa League spot next season. Plenty of action at the other end of the table as well, as 17th placed Werder Bremen lead 3-0 away to bottom side Paderborn. Davy Klaassen with 2 goals for them, Yuya Osako with the other, and Klaus Jasula with a record-breaking yellow card, perhaps not a record anyone really wanted. Action just getting back underway there. Paderborn could be relegated today if the result goes against them, not only at in Paderborn, but involving Dusseldorf as well. If Dusseldorf managed to beat Borrusia Dortmund in Dusseldorf, then that would secure Paderborn's relegation to the Zweite Bundesliga for 2020-21. It's 0-0 though between Dusseldorf and Dortmund. You might not have expected that, what with Dortmund being the second highest scorers in the league so far this season. And then the final 2 games involving the capital sides, Hertha Berlin leading 1-0 at home to Eintracht Frankfurt, although they did have centre-back Dedrick Boyata sent off just before half-time for a foul on, for a trip. It was... didn't lead to a penalty after a VAR check, but Hertha still holding on to that 1-0 lead. And Union Berlin also leading away to FC Köln. Marvin Friedrich with the goal there. 5 minutes before halftime, Christopher Trimmel, who leads all European leagues in terms of set-piece assists, getting another one there. Jonas Hector getting a yellow card for the Geisböcker. Köln, no more action there. So things starting to get underway. I think we're most into it with Dusseldorf versus Dortmund. So let's go to Rhys Davis, who can let us know what's been happening in the first couple of minutes there. Rhys.
Yeah, Dusseldorf have come out of the blocks a lot faster than they did in the first half. It's a good start for them. They've camped in the Dortmund half, and they've got a corner now. It's the second corner of the game. And no subs half-time, surprisingly. Don't forget, both teams have the opportunity to make up to 5 substitutes. Dusseldorf didn't make any last time either. And sticking with that tactic, along with Dortmund this time out. Corner comes to nothing, but it is Dusseldorf who started the brighter of the two teams in the second half.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So things also underway in Paderborn, where they are hosting Werder Bremen. Let's go to Nikki Taliesin with the latest in Paderborn. Nikki.
Thanks, Tom.
Oh!
Actually, I'll let you hand over to Neil. I'll see you in a moment.
Well, if we've got a goal, we might as well check in there. And it's Neil Parker who's got it for us. Who's it gone to, Neil?
It's a fantastic equaliser by Freiburg. No more than 25 seconds after the start of the second half. There was a shot in, the keeper saved it, and Salah heads from about 15 yards out, a looping header. The Wolfsburg defender actually tried to catch it, didn't catch it, which was probably wise. And yeah, it's 2-2. What a start to the second half. I'm going for a 4-4 draw. I'm putting my neck on the line. It's a 4-4 draw. I'm guaranteed. Thanks, Tom.
I'm going to hold you to that, Neil. Thank you very much. So that means, as things stand, Wolfsburg, well, as we were before the start of the game, they only hold a 4-point lead over Freiburg now. Freiburg, well, they'll be gunning for the goal to take the lead. As we said earlier, 2-0, very dangerous scoreline. Let's go back to Nikki Taliesin, who's watching Paderborn versus Werder Bremen. What's happened at the break, Nikki?
So Tom, as I was saying before the goals started pouring in, basically Paderborn have made 2 substitutions at halftime. They've brought on Zielinski and Ritter for Jans and Subeni. It looks like a tactical substitution, changing forward and right back, and also Jans was, if I'm honest, he's on a yellow card, and I wouldn't have been surprised if he got another one in the second half. He was getting quite down on the left-hand side, or his right-hand side, with Borrusia was just going at him all game. So, and there's 2 substitutions, and they're looking a little bit better, if I'm honest. In fact, he's through on goal right now. Oh, the keeper's come out. Well, that's quite a good time in there. But yeah, so it's 3-0 to Bremen.
Thank you very much, Nikki. So no change there other than the 2 substitutions, which I suppose definitely would count as a change. So as we heard from Neil just now, Roland Salah scoring the equaliser for Freiburg. That's his first goal since the last day before the lockdown, only his second goal of the season. So what a time to get it in the chase for that Europa League spot. Let's now go to Ben Feynman, who's in Berlin, watching Hertha take on Eintracht Frankfurt. Any updates for us, Ben?
Yeah, we've had 2 changes at half-time. Hertha Berlin to protect their early lead, which was given to them by Christoph Piontek. They've brought in Nicholas Stark to replace the gap that was left by Dedrick Boyata sending off. The Bosnian veteran Verdad Ibisevic is the man to make way. Frankfurt responded with a change of their own, really, which should make it one-way traffic here. They brought on Andre Silva for Lucas Toro. So I'm expecting Frankfurt really to try and push the issue for an equaliser. One thing to bear in mind is Filip Kostic, who is never afraid of a cross and would look very at home in a David Moyes Man United side, is already on 5 crosses, and I'm expecting him to put in at least 15 more this afternoon. So we'll see if he can make that big 20.
So it's not just Jasula who's chasing the number 20 this season. It's that like Kostic who wants 20 crosses today. Well, he's got a long way to go. Just one more game to check in with at the start of this second half. They're 5 minutes in Cologne. where they're playing Union Berlin, and Simon Mullins is there for us. Simon, what's the latest?
Yeah, just a couple of changes to let you know about. Both for the hosts, Benno Schmitz, the left back, and midfielder Dominic Drexler have come off, and Cologne are putting their trust in the two Tonys. We've got Leistner and Anthony Modesta, who's come on striker there. So hoping to get back into this game fairly quickly with that substitution there of Modeste. Slightly puzzling as to why they've taken off Drexler. He looked pretty lively in the first half, but maybe there's an injury. We don't know. But for the moment, 2 substitutions for Cologne, none for Berlin.
So yes, just those 2 substitutions to let you know about so far. But Anthony Modeste, he's scored 3 in his last 4 appearances for Cologne, all of them coming off the bench. Of course, 3 in his last 4 is as many as he'd scored in his previous 25 games. So a bit of a streaky striker, Anthony Modeste, for Cologne. They'll want to get back into that game at home to Union Berlin. Let's go back to Dusseldorf now, where Rhys Davis is watching them take on Borrusia Dortmund. Rhys.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's still 0-0 here, and Dusseldorf, looking the better team in the second half. We have had a chance for Dusseldorf. It was Matthias Zimmermann, and on my text alert it says he does a good impression of a basketball player as he handles the ball. So play got stopped pretty quickly there for handball. Manuel Akanji's on the floor at the moment. Let's see how that pans out. Just clattered by Emre Can. Looks okay. We've got a drop ball, which Dortmund pick up and go on the attack. Still 0-0.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So, yeah, Emre Can back in his central midfield role today, what with Mats Hummels returning from injury. Lukasz Piszczek, the right back, holding the captaincy in the absence of Marco Reus. Let's go back to Wolfsburg and see what the latest is with their game against Freiburg with Neil Parker. Neil.
Yeah, it's end-to-end stuff here. Wolfsburg just had a shot, Josip Bracalo, with a right-footed shot, which went wide of the goal. He sort of shinned it a little bit, but it is just end-to-end. It's back and forth here. Maybe 4-4. I got a little bit overexcited. Maybe 3-3 might be a more accurate kind of score. But hey, I'm hoping for goals. Ooh, and the Wolfsburg player has just been taken out there. So an attacking free kick to Wolfsburg. Still 2-2.
Yes, so Wout Weghorst with the 2 goals for them, but Hola and Salai Freiburg back level. Oh, there's been a goal in Berlin in the game against Eintracht Frankfurt. Who's it gone to, Ben Feynman?
It looks like it's Bastos with the equaliser for Frankfurt. The ball's been whipped in by Danny Da Costa, and Andre Silva's nodded it straight back across to his strike partner. And Bastos has lifted it into the roof of the net, and the keeper, Rune Jarstein, just can't keep it out. They'll check it for offside, but I think it'll be all right. So it looks like it's 1-1 to Frankfurt, and they'll really be pushing on for these points now.
Thank you very much, Ben. So yes, Bastos, if that one is confirmed, that would be his first goal since January, but still unconfirmed, I think. But no, it has. I think it has been confirmed now. Bastos with his first goal since January for Eintracht Frankfurt. Not much riding on that game, other than pride for the capital side. They're pretty much out of the European race so far, but it's 1-1 there. Eintracht Frankfurt taking advantage of the Dedrick Boyata red card just before half-time, which we all thought was a second yellow originally, but no, it was changed to a straight red, even though it wasn't a penalty. Interesting scenes in Berlin for that one. Let's check in now in Paderborn with Nikki Taliesin. Let's see what's going on at the bottom of the table. Nikki.
Hi, Tom. So we did have a shot from Michelle, who managed to hit the post, which is quite close. Paderborn are looking the better team at the moment. The rain is absolutely hammering it down there, and it's affecting the game quite a lot. There's like splashes of puddles of water coming up. It's raining so heavily there, and I think that seems to have moved in Paderborn's favour because they don't seem to like to play the ball on the deck as much as Bremen have been. So I would say the biggest change is rain. Apart from that, there's not much happening in the second half.
Thank you very much, Nikki. So yes, Sven Michel getting involved there. He, of course, scored the winner in the game between the two sides earlier this season for Paderborn. One of only 4 wins for the home side all season, and that's what sees them occupying 18th and bottom place in the Bundesliga. Let's go now to Neil Parker, who's watching Wolfsburg v Freiburg, and I think we've got a couple of changes there, have we, Neil?
Yeah, double substitution for Wolfsburg. Felix Klaus has come on for Josip Brekalo, and João Victor replaces Renato Steffen. Still 2-2, still back and forth. No real gilt-edged chances since the opening 20 seconds of the second half. But Wolfsburg are attacking now. They've got a 3-on-2 here. Ball's about to cross in. Oh, poor cross, defended and cleared out by Freiburg. Still Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 2.
Thank you very much, Neil. Let's take a look at what's going on in the other game with implications at the very top of the table. That is Dusseldorf v Dortmund, where Rhys Davis is for us. Rhys, what's the latest in Dusseldorf?
It's a bit end-to-end now. Dortmund are coming back into the game. We did have a chance for Dusseldorf before the Dortmund chance. It was, let's just see who it was. It was Tommy down the left-hand side. Got his shot off, quite a good left-footed shot like we saw a few times last week. Straight at Berkey, the keeper, though, and easily saved. Ball quickly went up the other end, where Sancho passed it in to Thorgan Hazard, who had a quick shot which was blocked, and then picked up a yellow card for kicking the ball away. It is still 0-0, just a yellow card, no subs yet. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much, Rhys. So yeah, according to the text update I'm getting, Thorgan Hazard punished with a yellow card for violating the rules. That'll do it. Let's go to Nikki Taliesin, who's watching Paderborn v Bremen, and there's been another goal there. Who's it gone to, Nikki?
And that's a goal by Eggestein. It's, as you say, it's Bremen's 4th goal. It's Bremen's 4th shot, apart from the penalty. It's four shots, 4 on target, 4 goals, compared to Paderborn's 5 shots, 1 on target, no goals. So I think that is the story of the game, really. It's another case of Klaassen crossed it in, and then it was a missed shot saved, and then just Eggestein just followed up and just slammed it through the middle. That's his first goal of the season, apparently, as well.
In fact, his first goal since January 2019, when he scored 5 that season for Werder Bremen. So 4-0 the lead for them now. Really, really important goals for Werder Bremen as they seek to overhaul Fortuna Dusseldorf's superior goal difference in the hunt for that relegation playoff berth. I mean, if results go their way, of course, Werder Bremen could avoid relegation entirely. What with Mainz and Augsburg both playing tomorrow, results there could see Werder Bremen in with a chance of getting out of the relegation zone entirely in the final 3 games. But it would require 3 wins out of 3 for them. Let's see now what is the latest in Cologne. Let's go to Simon Mullins, who's watching their game against Union Berlin.
Just had a good chance for Uth, the centre attacking midfielder. He's broke through and hit a left-footed shot. Another good save there from Gikiewicz. He's really keeping his team in the game so far. Another half hearted shout for a penalty. Starting to see a little bit more John Cordoba, which will please Cologne fans. He's getting into the game a little bit more, and there was a sort of half-hearted appeal for a penalty as the great control in the box from a high ball, laid off for I think it was Kainz coming in, and he got taken out, but I think the defender got to the ball first, so no real chance of a penalty there. Still 1-0 to Union Berlin, and you can't help to think that the management of Dusseldorf will have one eye on this game for various reasons, not least hoping that Cologne can get back into this, and it makes the Berlin side a little bit easier to catch. But we'll see how this progresses into the second half. It's all Cologne at the moment.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much, Simon, for that update. Let's go now to Dusseldorf, where their result has plenty of implications up and down the table, where Rhys Davis has an update on an introduction, perhaps one to break the deadlock. Rhys. Thank you very much, Rhys. So yes, Erling Haaland hasn't scored in his last two appearances. Dortmund perhaps missing his goals as they look to pressure Bayern Munich, who play this evening against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Gladbach, of course, in fourth place, could be a potential banana skin for the presumptive champions. Let's check in now in Wolfsburg, where Neil Parker's watching that game against Freiburg, where I think there's been a chance. Has there, Neil?
Yeah, there's been chances at either end. Freiburg have had two in quick succession, both to Roland Salai. The first one, he right-footed shot from the centre of the box, which was saved. The second one, cross came in from Christian Gunter, and how Salai didn't score, I don't know, because he took it round two players. He was about 3 yards out and couldn't score. We've also had a Wolfsburg chance by John Brooks, who headed it, which was saved. I'm just seeing that it was actually Grivo who took it round some players, passed it over to Salai, and how Salai hasn't scored, I don't know. We're actually got a double change for Freiburg now as well. So they're looking to mix it up by bringing on two other players. Salai is actually one of the players who is coming off, as well as Waldschmidt. So we've had a double substitution for Freiburg. It is Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 2.
Thank you very much, Neil. So yes, Peterson coming on for Waldschmidt in that game, hoping that he can add to his 24 goals as a substitute in Bundesliga history. That, of course, is a Bundesliga record. Nils Peterson scored a minute after coming on for his 10th of the season last time out, which was Freiburg's first win in 5. Let's check in now with... Well, let's go back to Dusseldorf, where I think we've got an update with Rhys Davis. Rhys, what's the latest?
It's a goal to Dortmund. It is 1-0 Dortmund, and the substitute setting up the goal for Rafael Guerreiro. The ball came down the right. It was Hazard who passed to Sancho. Sancho had a go, blocked a defender, fell to Haaland. He had a go, blocked again by defender, and it fell very nicely to Rafael Guerreiro, who's smashed it in with his left foot. They actually haven't restarted play yet. This is going to be an ongoing theme today. The referee is waiting for confirmation that the goal will stand. Before that, Marcus Sobotka actually had a great chance the other end. He was played through by, I think it was Borrusia, and well saved by the keeper there. Let's have a look at this now, because Haaland's shot ricochets into Guerreiro's face but does it hit his arm first? The referee is taking quite a while on this, and I'm not quite sure what's happening here. Oh, yes, I am. It's been ruled out. It has been given for handball. Very harsh and took quite a while. So rescind everything I just said. 0-0.
So thank you very much, Reese, for that. Well, we won't call it a non-update. That would be doing you a disservice. But we'll go now to Ben Feynman, who's watching Eintracht Frankfurt against, they're at Hertha Berlin. There's been a goal there, I believe. Ben, who scored that one?
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with this goal, Tom. It was a beautiful piece of skill. Kostic just played in Kamada, who's danced around about 4 Hertha Berlin defenders, taken some time to lay back to Andre Silva, and Andre Silva's back-heeled it within the 6-yard box into the back of the net. I don't think I can do it justice, to be honest. You all need to have a look at how Daichi Kamada's just dribbled through and sat down about 2 or 3 defenders. It's phenomenal. The crowd are on their feet, the 5 to 10 that are already there. It's 2-1 to Frankfurt, and they're really pushing over this advantage.
Thank you very much, Ben. So 2-1 now to Eintracht Frankfurt. Yes, taking advantage of that red card. Andre Silva, he's been in top form since Bundesliga returned. He'd scored in 4 of Frankfurt's 6 games since the restart. We'll make that 5 in 7 now, putting him just ahead of Martin Hinteregger as the team's top scorer on 9 goals now. Interestingly, Hinteregger, the top scoring centre-back in Bundesliga with those 8 goals. Pretty impressive for a central defender. Let's see now. I believe we had a goal update from Paderborn where Nikki Taliesin's watching that one. Nikki, who scored that one? Is it 5-0?
It's not 5-0. It's actually 4-1. It was an interesting little section, really. So there was Michel went in badly, got a yellow card, and should have been sent off, which Klassen clearly agreed with because arguing with the referee, he got himself a yellow card. And then the yellow card king got substituted for Sabiri, who came on and within about 2-3 minutes tapped in a goal which was just a mess in the area, but he got the last touch and got the goal for Paderborn to make it 4-1. So that will affect, because they were just 1 goal away, it looked like, from getting into that place. But then after the disallowed goal in Dortmund and that goal, everything's changed. They're now a few points and a few goals away.
Quite a mountain to climb for Paderborn, of course, though. Still 3 goals down, but doesn't help Werder Bremen in their search for staying in Bundesliga next season.
Oh!
I think we've got a goal update there from Simon Mullins. Who's it gone to in between Köln and Union Berlin, Simon?
It's a second for the visitors. It's Christian Gentner, and it's a really, really well-timed run from the winger. Corner comes in. It's headed away by Cologne, knocked down, and I think it's Bulte who just cushions the ball back into the box. As the Cologne defence are coming out, Gentner just holds his run and then steps back and holds himself onside. Everyone's gone. He's completely unmarked in the box. Great touch on the chest, and he's lashed it in with his left foot. 2-0 to Berlin, and it's going to be an uphill struggle for the hosts to get back into this one now.
Certainly will. Certainly will. Really important result for Union Berlin if they want to stay in Bundesliga next season. I mean, they're already 6 points ahead of Fortuna Dusseldorf, who currently occupy the 3rd relegation position. But Augsburg and Mainz both play tomorrow and could leapfrog Union Berlin. Well, Augsburg could, depending on their goal difference. Mainz would still be a point behind, even if they beat out. Those 2 sides play each other. So it really depends on what that result is. Goodness me. Excellent. So let's go back to Wolfsburg now and see what the latest is from Neil Parker. Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's quieted down a little bit. No real efforts on goal now. We had a substitute for Wolfsburg. Yannick Gerhard has come on to replace Xaver Schlager. Wolfsburg have a corner. And actually, as I was just saying that, Wolfsburg almost scored. Oh, sorry, Freiburg almost scored. It was actually cleared off the line by the Wolfsburg defender. Wolfsburg corner now. And it's been cleared by Freiburg. So it's it's quieted down after the blistering start of the second half. And it's still Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 2.
Thanks, Neil. That's excellent work from you. Thanks,
Tom.
You're welcome. Getting distracted by goal updates. I think there's something developing between Hertha Berlin and Eintracht Frankfurt. Let's go back to Ben Feynman and let's see what the update is from him. Who scored?
It's 3-1 to Frankfurt. They've got the 2-goal lead, which they need to leapfrog Hertha Berlin the table. And it's the centre-back and Dicker on the edge of the area. So it's coming to him. Dominic Kors tried to kind of chip it across, and it's just bundled back to Dicker on the edge of the box. And he has lashed a left-footed drive, a daisy cutter straight into the bottom corner. It's 3-1 to Frankfurt, and I cannot see a way back for Hertha Berlin now after the great start they had.
Yeah, so 3-1 there now. That's Dicker's first goal of the season. Well, his first goal of the season at the correct end. He scored an own goal for Union Berlin in the game against Frankfurt back in February. His last goal in all competitions, though, at the right end, came in October in a Europa League tie against Vitória Guimarães. Let's check in with the game near the top of the table involving Borussia Dortmund, where Rhys Davis is watching them take on Fortuna Dusseldorf. Rhys.
Yes, still 0-0. I believe my words were at the beginning of the game. Expect plenty of goals. It comes in as no surprise that there haven't been any. Just another replay of that disallowed goal. Very harsh. It grazes the hand and makes no difference at all to the trajectory of the ball. It'll be interesting to see the manager's reactions to that. We've had another sub. Giovanni Reyna's come on for Thorgan Hazard, who did pick up that yellow card earlier in the half. This game could go anyway. Dusseldorf attacking quite quickly, counter-attacking. They've picked up 3 or 4 corners in the last 15 minutes. Still haven't capitalised from those. But Dortmund, looking dangerous, but could go either way. Still 0-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rhys. I don't know if we can take an advert break midway through this second half. Yeah, let's take an advert break and we'll come back in a couple of moments.
There's a magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after bedtime, when dark nighttime falls, Jeffrey and helpers stock up all the shelves. From ceilings to floor, books, board games and bikes, teddies, puppets and dolls, beds, spaceships and trikes. There's millions, says Jeffrey, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
Really topical adverts there, really up to the moment. So no updates for you in that little break there, but sometimes you just need a moment to stretch your legs and have a little break. Let's go now to Simon Mullins, who's watching Cologne against Union Berlin. Any updates, Simon?
Only substitutions, really, Tom. Before the goal, Union Berlin brought on Uja, Nigerian striker, for Anderson, and Kroos, brother of Tony, of Real Madrid and Germany fame. Cologne also responded by bringing on Rekspekaj. That's a name that I was worried about pronouncing before I came on the stream today. And they've swapped the Kingsleys round. Ahizabue has gone off, who's had a great game, actually, down the right-hand side from right back. And they brought on Kingsley Schindler to replace him. So no real action since the goal, but a couple of substitutions just to fill you in on that.
Thank you very much, Simon. Let's see what's going on in Wolfsburg with Neil Parker. Anything to update us on, Neil?
Wolfsburg just had a shot. Daniel Ginczek had a header at the centre of the box. He also had a shot from just outside the box where the keeper very manfully punched it away with both fists for a throw-in. There's a lot of old-school football style playing today with diving headers and diving fists and everything. So really, really good to see. It's pretty even, actually. I mean, I'm going to readjust my score, and I reckon it's going to be 2-2 by the end of this game. He says, as Freiburg just missed a header. It is still 2-2. Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 2.
I'm going to have to recommend that you don't make any more score predictions, my friend, if you want any more goals. Let's go back to Paderborn now, where I think there have been a couple of changes with Nicky Taliesin. Nicky. He's on mute.
I do apologise, classic little technical error there. So, there's been a couple of changes. Zielinski just came on, and his first thing to do was to get a yellow card. There's been a few yellow cards in this game. That was for Werder. Also coming on for Paderborn is Fulkrug, who came on for Osako. Osako took a what I can only describe as a torpedo shot straight to the chest. In fairness, he dived in front of it, and it was a great save, but I think that cost him the rest of the game, and he left the field with one of the help staff. Looks like not another yellow card happening there. So, there's been a few changes, and that's about it, really. 4 subs used already for Werder, and already 4 subs being used for Paderborn, so there's 1 sub left each. Oop, and there's a fight. There's an actual fight. I think we could see another yellow card here. I don't think that's much social distancing there, hugging each other to take each other away from the fight. There's going to be some cards here. It could be another one of the players that's just come on as a sub. Oh, he tried around the world. He got dragged to the ground. It's just a yellow. It's just a yellow for number 11, which is Fulkrug, who just came on. It seems to be a trend right now. Come on as sub, get yourself a yellow card.
Yeah, really wanting to get himself into the game there. Niklas Fulkrug coming on for Yuya Osako, who scored Bremen's second goal of the game in the 34th minute. But no further part will be played by him today. Let's go now to let's get the latest from the capital at the Olympiastadion and check in with Ben Feynman, who's watching Hertha v Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, so we've had a plethora of subs really before and after those 2 quick-fire goals. So more recently, we've had Jonathan de Guzman come on for Big Bad Bastos now that they're 3-1 up. And Matheus Cunha has returned from his injury on for Christoph Piontek, which should provide Hertha Berlin a much-needed boost, but ultimately it might be too little too late. What I did fail to mention, I was about to praise Bruno Labbadia for his quick reaction to making 2 quick subs after the equaliser, was he actually did substitute the 18-year-old who came on after 30 minutes and subbed him off after 55, so he's only on for 25. Let's hope the young man can really make it back after that. It must be a bit of a kick to the stomach.
Yes, absolutely, but a little run out for him will probably go down quite well, even if he won't appreciate being subbed off shortly into the second half. Let's go now to Dusseldorf, where they're playing Borrusia Dortmund, and Rhys Davis is watching that one for us. Rhys, what's the latest?
No goals, but a fair bit of action since you were last here. Steven Skrabitsky has just come on for Suttner for Dusseldorf, has just hit the post. One of those grass-cutting shots just out of the reach of the Dortmund keeper. Bounces off the post and is cleared away. Dusseldorf, Uwe Rosler has made 3 substitutes. Now 4, actually. The aforementioned Skrzypski coming on for Suttner, Morales for Sobotka, and Hennings has come on, scorer of the only 2 goals last week for Dusseldorf. He's just come on, replacing Karaman. And also Zimmer is just on for Tommy down the left. So both teams going to go for this in the last 10 minutes. I'm not going to say anything about any predictions. Still 0-0.
Probably for the best. So yes, still 0-0 in that game between Dusseldorf and Dortmund, the only game without any goals so far. Although Dortmund will be making up a point on Bayern, they will see it as 2 points dropped, as Bayern now hold a 6-point lead over Dortmund, which means that if they win their game at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach this evening, it would practically seal the title. Their goal difference of plus 60 at the moment, obviously with a win that would increase. Dortmund's at the moment only plus 14, which would probably seem insurmountable in the 3 remaining games. And it would require Bayern to lose almost as many games as they've lost throughout the entire season so far. If that were to happen, there are 4 goals in the game between Wolfsburg and Freiburg, although there could have been 2 more. Daniel Ginczek with a couple of goals disallowed by VAR, perhaps one of them a little bit harsh. Wolfsburg taking a 2-goal lead there. Wout Weghorst scoring 2 in the first half, but Hola just before halftime and Salai mere seconds after the second half kickoff, leveling the scores there. Hertha Berlin at home to Eintracht Frankfurt are losing 3-1. They opened the scoring through Christoph Piontek, who's left the field now substituted. Dedrick Boyata, his sending off just before half-time, really opened the door for Eintracht Frankfurt, who first equalized through Bas Dost, then Andre Silva continuing his good run of form, and then Ndika scoring the 3rd goal for them. FC Köln at home to Union Berlin, the other capital side. They are losing 2-0. Marvin Friedrich and Gentner scoring for Berlin. But Anthony Modeste has come on for Köln, and he has a pretty good record coming off the bench in the last few games. Just 6.5 minutes to go there, plus added on time. And then at the bottom of the table, Paderborn almost certainly will be relegated. If not today, if Dusseldorf can get a winner against Dortmund, Paderborn would be relegated, but they'll almost certainly be going down next weekend regardless. They are losing 4-1 at home to Werder Bremen. Werder took the lead first through Davy Klaassen, then Yuya Osako doubled it. Klaassen again just before halftime, then Eggestein, one of 2 Eggesteins on the Werder side, made it 4. Sabiri, the substitute, got one back for Paderborn, which makes the score 4-1. And of course, not to mention Klaus Jasula breaking the Bundesliga record for the most yellow cards in one season with 17 now, breaking Thomas Heito's 21-year record from 98-99 for Schalke. Let's see. Well, there's really only one game that many people will have their eyes on, and it's Dusseldorf at home to Dortmund, what with the implications for both the title and relegation. Let's check in with Rhys Davis, see if there's any updates since I've done my big spiel there.
Not many updates. We've had a yellow card. It was for Hakimi. Pretty cynical foul. Before that, it was Gieselman as well, who did a challenge you can only describe really as a rugby challenge. He got more of the shirt than I've seen a lot of rugby players in the past. Guaranteed yellow card, take one for the team. Very scrappy. Doesn't seem to be any breakthrough coming. Most of the football is being played in the middle third. And 0-0 still.
0-0 still. Fine lyricist, that boy. Let's go now to the other game with implications at the top of the table. Let's go to Wolfsburg, where Neil Parker is watching their game against Freiburg.
Not a huge amount of action, Tom. No one's really getting a shot off. I can see this staying as a 2-2 draw. We've had a few substitutions. Wolfsburg, and the unfortunate Daniel Ginczek has been taken off the field. He's been replaced by the great named Omar Marmoush. Great name. Freiburg have made a double substitution. Gianluca Itter and Mike França come on. And the players that have been pulled off is Christian Gunter and Robin Koch. Thanks, Tom.
Are you really telling me he's pulled off Koch? I can't believe that we've just said that on a live stream. Well, I had every opportunity not to say it, but I did anyway. Let's go to Hertha at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, where Ben Feynman's watching Eintracht with a 3-1 lead. Is it still 3-1, Ben?
It is, as far as I'm aware, Tom. There's been no real change of momentum here. Frankfurt are just sitting back now and waiting for Hertha to come on to them. The bad news is it doesn't look like Philip Kostic is going to make it to 20 crosses. He was up to 11 after 10 minutes. I've all got quite excited. But he has since settled down into a more traditional left-back role. Hertha Berlin looked slightly more dangerous with Cunha coming on up top, but ultimately this is going to be too little too late, and I'm expecting this to just finish 3-0 and drown out.
Thanks very much, Ben. And so 2 other games we've got to look at. Let's go now to the bottom of the table clash between Paderborn and Werder Bremen, where Nikki Taliesin's watching that one. Just a couple of minutes to go, Nikki. What's the latest?
It's just pretty much a fight to the end, I'd say. Christian Grobe's come on for the opening goal scorer and 2-goal scorer, Davy Klaassen, who he had a great match. He covered every inch, and he deserved to come off. So that was the final substitution for Werder. The substitutions of strikers, they've been interesting. Selke, who's come on, he had an open header and he decided to clear it. And Fulkrug, he just wants to fight. He's lucky not to get a second yellow card then. I haven't seen him touch the ball, but I've seen him touch a few players.
Not observing social distancing whatsoever, Fulkrug. So just the final game now to check in with before we do around the grounds for full time. Let's go to Simon Mullins, who's watching Köln versus Union Berlin. Simon.
Yeah, Cologne, they're not really pushing the play like they need to get back into this game. They've had some success when they've moved the ball quickly, but it's just slow.
Go.
So let's go to Ben.
Yeah, definitely. I can hear there's been a goal update from Hertha Berlin. Have they managed to make a fist of this, Ben?
Absolutely not. It's 4-1 to Frankfurt. It's Andre Silva who's rounded off the day. He's been threaded through lovely by the substitute Stefan Ilsanker. The left back for Hertha Berlin was playing him well onside, and he stroked it home past the despairing Rune Jarstein. It's 4-1, and it's no more than Frankfurt deserve. They've been dominant the second half.
Well, so Andre Silva becoming the first Frankfurt player to reach 10 goals so far this season. That is now his 6th in 7 games since the return of Bundesliga action. And he's been a really vital cog in their fight to, just move up the table, really. They have been in a little bit of peril from the relegation zone, but they've moved into the top half now, leapfrogging Hertha. Really interesting scorelines around the league. Let's go to Simon Mullins back in Cologne. Simon, what's the latest there?
Yeah, as I was saying, it's it's not great football from Cologne, but quite the opposite from their visitors. A really lovely sequence around the 80-minute mark. And great one-touch play out on the left-hand side led to Leistner getting booked as he got fed up of being passed around, clattered into Felix Cruz, who took the resulting free kick. And everyone's waiting for the cross. He's whipped a fantastic shot into the right-hand side of the keeper. And Timo Horn's got across really well to palm it out for a corner. From the resulting corner, we could have had another goal, but it's fallen right onto the feet of our opening goal scorer, and it's trickled into Gikiewicz's hands. So a really nice sequence there from Union Berlin, but the only thing to really shout about in the last 10 minutes, it has been very scrappy.
Thank you very much, Simon. So that one looking like it's going to finish 2-0. A game that definitely hasn't only got 2 goals in it is the game between Paderborn and Werder Bremen, where I believe there's been another one. Nicky Taliesin.
There has indeed, and the reverse of Reece. Reece said that there have been loads of goals in his game. I said that it's probably going to be a tight game, and it's not. It's 5-1 now, and after me just giving you a little rundown of Füllkrug's just beating up people, his first actual touch, he got into a perfect position, left foot, bottom corner, hit it across the keeper, nice and easy, perfectly placed, and he got his goal after 9 months out with a bad injury. So you can see why probably he was getting a bit frustrated, just wanted to get on the pitch and get that goal, and he finally got it the right way around.
Certainly has. Really important goal for them, again, with that goal difference so important in their chase to escape the relegation zone. Let's check in now back with Reece Davis, who's still watching Dusseldorf v Dortmund. Still no goals though, Reece.
No, still no goals. We've got 5 added on minutes here, and could go anyway. There are a lot of chances both ends of the pitch. Skrzypski's had the best chance since you came to me last. He was one-on-one with the keeper again, but the ball just wouldn't fall down for him, and his volley just went slightly wide. And here's Dortmund attacking. It's a header from... No, it's Haaland, and he's scored. It's Haaland has scored, and I think it's going to finish 1-0. Hang on. You know what that means. It's great news for our accumulators if we've got any on. And by the reaction of the Dusseldorf players, they do not think this is going to get ruled out. Let's just see the replay here. It's passed into Sancho. It's deflected off the keeper. Who's that? Kanji whips it in. Haaland's free, unmarked in the middle of the box. Nodded in. And with 3 or 4 seconds left of this game, I do not think we're going to see a comeback.
Oh!
Dortmund.
So Erling Haaland scores for the first time in 3 appearances for Borussia Dortmund. Great way to make his comeback after missing a couple of games due to injury. As we just heard, there's a goal update from Cologne. Have Union Berlin taken a 3-goal lead, Simon?
They've not. It's the hosts who've got themselves, well, I hesitate to say got themselves back into the game. I think it's going to be too late now. But as I said earlier on, if anything's going to happen for Cologne, it's probably going to come through their attacking midfielder, Ut. And he has threaded a ball through to John Cordoba, who's nicked it just in front of the goalkeeper, the onrushing goalkeeper, and prodded it into the bottom corner for his goal today. I don't think Cologne are going to be able to get back into this, but this has been a day of very, very poor predictions, so watch this space.
Thank you very much, Simon. So we have 4 games. Well, that's the only game still going, Cologne against Union Berlin. So let's do a full-time...
Shout.
Oh, well, let's go back to Simon.
Away. I think it's been waved away. Just waiting for the replay on this one. It's lofted ball into the box. I think it's Leistner. And
who's it to, Simon?
Cologne is Leistner, the fullbacks, lofted the ball into the box for the hosts, and somebody's been bundled over there. I'm not sure if it was Modeste, but he's just been clattered from behind. And well, the referee just dismissed it. I think no, he's blown up. There's no VAR check, and the hosts are livid. Wow. Yeah, Modeste won the header actually, and it was Uth. He was barged into the back by Hudner, and it's a definite penalty for me, and it's definitely worth a look for the referee. That's very hard to swallow for the hosts. It's finished 2-1 here, and Schindler, Höger, Cordoba, they're all surrounded the referee. It's a very unsavoury end to what's been quite a pleasant game all in all, but they will feel very hard done by.
They certainly will. If there was a penalty shout in the last minute to come back from 2-0 down, what could have been a remarkable comeback from Köln, would have salvaged a point for them. But no, it looks like that one has finished 2-1 to the capital side, Union Berlin. Well, that's all of the games finished now. So I think we'll do a roundup around the grounds, starting with the team highest up in the table. We'll go back to Rhys Davis, who's been watching Dusseldorf v Dortmund. Rhys.
Yeah, great finish for the away team here, and 3 points, which maybe keeps the title hopes alive, albeit they are still quite a while way behind Bayern Munich, who do have a game in hand later on today. Pretty dry game, to be honest. Not much happening. Skrzypski came closest for the home team, hitting the post, and again 10 minutes later with a shot that missed by about 3 foot. Dortmund probably deserved of the 3 points. When Haaland came on, they did sort of become the better team, and the substitutes paid off. Fair result, 1-0, and not great news for Dusseldorf, who linger in the playoff relegation place.
Absolutely, yeah, very important result with implications at both ends of the table. Another game with implications for European qualification was Wolfsburg against Freiburg, where Neil Parker has been watching that for us today. Neil, what was your take on the game?
Yeah, it was quite an entertaining game, actually. I mean, the second half didn't really live up to the fast-paced start that we received. Wolfsburg went 2-0 up through Weghorst, the second being a penalty. They could have been 4-0 up with 2 goals disallowed via VAR. Freiburg got back into it in the end of the first half, with Höhler scoring in the 43rd minute, and then 25 seconds after the start of the second half, Salai scored the equaliser, making it 2-2. It was end-to-end without either club really having a gilt-edged chance. But yeah, it keeps it quite even. Obviously, it keeps Wolfsburg 4 points ahead of Freiburg. And Wolfsburg are occupying that final Europa League spot. So it ended Wolfsburg 2, Freiburg 2.
Thank you very much, Neil. So as things were at the start of the game, really, with that 2-2 result, we'll go now to the Olympiastadion in Berlin, where I'm very surprised to see that Ben Feynman hasn't had to move his car again today. Ben, what was your take on today's game?
Yeah, no such problems today, Tom. Public transport this morning. It really started like Bruno Labbadia's side were going to return back to their winning ways when Christoph Piontek put them in an early lead after 25 minutes. But the game really got turned on its head after the somewhat controversial red card to Dedrick Boyata just on the stroke at half-time. Frankfurt came out the second half firing, bringing on Andre Silva, and that really did make the difference. Bas Dost scored an equaliser before 2 excellent goals by Frankfurt. Daiki Kamada first dancing through before giving it to Andre Silva for a cute finish, and Ndika just lacing one home from the edge of the area. If you can see both of those this evening on the highlights, then please do. Andre Silva rounded off the route 4-1 after 86 minutes. And Frankfurt go above Hertha Berlin in the table, I believe. So a really good mid-table clash here. Who said they didn't have anything to play for?
Certainly not me before the game. But yet, real form player, Andre Silva right now. He's scored quite a few goals since the return of the Bundesliga. The other game involving a capital side today was Cologne against Union Berlin, where Simon Mullins was watching that one. Simon, can we get your full-time report, please?
Yeah, the quintessential away performance here from Union Berlin. The stats, the possession, the shots, they do flatter the hosts rather. I've got 60-40 possession and 10 shots, 6 on target. But the problem was those 6 shots on target for Cologne were weak. They didn't really look like they were going to test Gikiewicz. And it really was a good defensive performance from Berlin, who took their chances when they got them. Only 6 shots for them, but 4 of them on target. A really clinical performance from them. If you remember back to the first half with the penalty shout that it was rightfully dismissed, I think, but getting into those positions and really looking like they were going to do something with them rather than the hosts who got forward fairly often, but they just didn't look like there was much of a sting to their attack. The first goal coming from Friedrich, with some criminal defending really in the box. He was allowed to have such a run on Shqiri, and you can't give a centre-back that much room in the box and not expect them to put it away. Great finish again from Gentner and a lovely ball into him from Bulte. Good control and a great finish. The last goal there from Cordoba, watching the replays, Union Berlin, the architect of their own downfall really. Kroos, who played very well since he came on, he gave the ball away straight to Uth, who took a great touch and played the ball almost immediately through to Cordoba. One touch play at its finest, and a good finish from the striker there. But in all honesty, if Cologne had got that penalty at the end, it probably would have been more than they deserved. Game's finished 1-2, and a good away win for Union Berlin.
Thank you very much, Simon. So just the final game to give you a full-time update from, and it was the basement battle between Paderborn, bottom side Paderborn, and second bottom Werder Bremen, where Nikki Taliesin was watching that one for us. Nikki.
And it really was a battle, Tom. I think, even though the story of the game is obviously 5-1, 5-1 to Werder, the fact it came down to that battle, there was a total of 35 fouls in the game, 9 yellow cards in total. But what proved truly counting was the fact that the shots to goals ratio, Werder actually only had 6 shots. They scored 5 goals, whereas Paderborn had 10 shots. Only 4 of them were on target, and they actually only got the 1 goal. As I say, Klaassen, man of the match, he was a different level to a lot of the players. There's a lot of energy in the games. It's quite interesting actually, because tomorrow's game now, Mainz versus Augsburg. If Augsburg actually beat Mainz, that means they're only 3 points ahead, and next week Werder actually play Mainz, which will make it quite interesting indeed. So if Mainz fail to win tomorrow and Werder take them next week by a couple of goals, then it could be quite interesting. They might actually get out not just the promotion relegation, but they could actually get out automatically from the relegation battle.
Thank you very much, Nikki. So yes, 4 away wins today out of the 5 matches. Only the 1 draw between Wolfsburg and Freiburg, marring what could have been a clean sweep of away wins. So Dortmund's victory, last-minute victory, keeps them just barely in touch with Bayern Munich at the top of the table. Just 4 points between them now, although Bayern have their game this evening against goodness me, against Borussia Mönchengladbach, the 4th place side in Bundesliga. That will be kicking off in just under an hour, BT Sport. The other matches, VfL Wolfsburg drawing 2-2 with Freiburg on, as you were with those teams, neither being able to take advantage of Hoffenheim slipping up against Leipzig last night, but Wolfsburg with the upper hand. Going into the final 3 games, heading for that final Europa League spot. Paderborn at the bottom, they lost, but with Dusseldorf also losing, that means Paderborn do survive for just another week, but almost certain that they will go down next weekend. But Werder Bremen, yeah, really important result for them. They're now level on points with Fortuna Dusseldorf, and as Nikki said, they could move out of the relegation zone if results go their way, with involving Mainz and potentially Augsburg in the next 24 hours. And the The other two games involving the capital sides, Hertha Berlin losing 4-1 at home to Eintracht Frankfurt. Andre Silva putting in a man-of-the-match performance there. And Union Berlin winning away to Köln. So that's it for this first round of matches on, second round of matches if you include last night's game between Hoffenheim and Leipzig. But you've got Bayern Munich coming up this evening. They are at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Mainz are at home to Augsburg tomorrow at 2:30 before Schalke take on Bayer Leverkusen tomorrow at 5 p.m. That would be your lot for Matchday 31. See you in Matchday 32.